should have left the moment I saw the freezer. It wasn't the kind of thing you ignore. Not when it's padlocked, sealed with duct tape, and surrounded by melted candle wax and salt circles. But she was beautiful. And when beautiful people make rules, you want to believe they're harmless. "Don't open the freezer, okay?" she said the night I moved in. "I mean it, ever." She smiled when she said it, like it was a joke, but her eyes weren't laughing. It started when I lost my job in Pittsburgh and had to move back to my hometown. Only thing worse than being broke is being broke in a place you hate. I couldn't stomach crashing with my mom, so when I saw the ad, "roommate needed, must be respectful, no pets, no freezer access," I figured it was a typo or some weird minimalist thing. Her name was Laura, early 30s, sharp cheekbones, half-shaved head, tattoos that disappeared under thrifted sweaters. She had a softness to her voice that made everything feel safe, even the weird stuff. "Is the freezer broken or something?" I asked as we toured the two-bedroom apartment. It was small but clean. "No," she said. "I just don't want anyone touching it. It's private." Private, like it held a box of family keepsakes, or her dead cat, or some vegan organ meat I wouldn't understand. I didn't push it. 3 days later, I moved in. At first, it was fine. Laura was quiet, polite, even funny in an offbeat way. She made tea every night and watched old horror movies with the volume low. Sometimes I'd join her, and we'd sit there in silence, letting Vincent Price or Linda Blair fill the room with unease. But the freezer started to get to me. It was in the kitchen, standard top-bottom fridge, but the upper section, the freezer, was locked, a thick master lock, and 3 layers of duct tape. Symbols were scratched into metal with what looked like a nail. Circles inside circles, jagged edges, a crooked triangle that kept showing up again and again. I asked her about it once more. "You know," I laughed, "you could have just bought a mini freezer for whatever weird thing you're hiding." Laura didn't laugh back. Instead, she whispered, "Don't joke about it. It hears you." I thought she was just quirky, eccentric, but then the noises started. The first sound came at 3:12 a.m., a low knocking, like fists gently tapping from inside the freezer. I froze in bed. Then came the scraping, something dragging along metal. I got up, stepped into the hallway, and listened. The kitchen was dark, silent, but I could see from the corner, frost forming along the freezer seal, even though it was summer and the apartment had no AC. I told myself it was the pipes, or rats, or both. The next morning, Laura was in the kitchen sipping tea, eyes rimmed red like she hadn't slept. "You heard it, didn't you?" she asked softly. I nodded. It always gets curious when someone new moves in. I should have left, right then, but I didn't. I was broke, and I was curious. Every night, the sound grew louder. Thudding, slamming. Once, I swear I heard breathing, ragged and slow, like something suffocating on the other side of the metal. Laura began burning sage, drawing symbols and salt across the kitchen tiles. She taped a cross to the freezer door. The air inside the apartment grew colder, heavy, like it was harder to breathe. She wouldn't talk about what was inside, only warn me, promise me, she said one night, holding my hand like I was a child. "No matter what you hear, no matter what it says, you do not open that freezer." I promise. Then I broke it. It was around 2:40 a.m. when I heard it speak. I was half asleep, drifting off, when a voice slithered from the kitchen. Not knocking, not scratching. A voice. "Luke, I'm cold." My eyes snapped open. "Let me out." It wasn't Lara's voice. It was small, childlike. I crept into the hallway, listening. I don't want to be alone anymore. My heart jackhammered against my ribs. "Please." And then, softly, almost tenderly, "Didn't your mother lock you away too?" I stepped back, stumbled. How did it know? When I was 10, my mother used to lock me in the bathroom during her breakdowns. Said it was for my safety. Said I'd be quiet that way. I never told anyone. Now the voice in the freezer knew. "You were scared in the dark, weren't you?" It cooed. I ran back to my room and shoved the dresser against the door. I didn't sleep. The next day, I asked Laura straight out, What's in the freezer? She stared at me, long, hollow. Something I trapped, she said, a long time ago. She didn't blink when she said it. It mimics, lies, knows what hurts. Don't let it get to you. What is it? Lara's lips twitched. I think it used to be human. That night, the power went out. The whole block went black. The streetlights, the apartment, everything. I used my phone flashlight to find candles. And in that flickering darkness, the freezer door rattled. Hard, over and over. Luke, the voice whispered. It hurts in here. The lock trembled. The symbols on the freezer glowed faintly. And then the voice changed. It wasn't a child anymore. It sounded like me. Let me out, Luke. I'm you. I'm what you locked away. I screamed. I screamed until Lara stormed in, holding a butcher knife and a book with Latin symbols. She yelled something. Claudera, portam, vocum falsum. Claudera. The freezer fell silent. But Lara's hands were bleeding, her eyes wild. You almost let it out, she gasped. You almost opened it. I hadn't touched it, but it knew me. The next day, I packed my bags. I told Lara I couldn't stay. She nodded. She looked older now, weaker. I understand, she said. Most don't last this long. I picked up my suitcase. I walked toward the door, and then the freezer whispered again. One word. Mommy? I stopped. Tears filled my eyes before I even understood why. I turned back toward it. Lara shouted, and oh! I moved on instinct. I grabbed the lock, ripped away the tape, ignored her screams. The cold bled through my skin like frostbite. I'm sorry, I whispered. I just want to know what it is. And I opened the freezer. There was no meat, no food, no frost, no shelves. Just a yawning black hole, deep, endless, alive. And something moved inside it. A shape, writhing, twisting. Flesh that wasn't flesh. A face that looked like my childhood self. Another that looked like Lara. Another like Emily, my first girlfriend who died in that crash I caused. It whispered truths I'd buried. Every secret, every guilt. They bled into my ears like acid. And then I fell into it, into the cold, into the truth. I woke up hours later, on the floor. Lara knelt beside me, crying. You shouldn't have looked, she whispered. It sees you now. It knows your shape. The freezer was locked again, but I could feel it behind the metal. Smiling, waiting. That was 2 weeks ago. I don't sleep. I hear it all the time now, even when I'm blocks away. It's inside me, or I'm inside it. Sometimes I lose track. Sometimes I wake up standing in front of the freezer, key in hand, mouth open, eyes blank. Sometimes I dream of walking into that hole and not wanting to leave. Lara's gone now. She moved out without warning. She left a note. It's your problem now. You've been listening to Mr. Grimhour. If someone asks you not to open something, don't. Especially if it's cold. Especially if it talks. If you enjoyed tonight's story, give a like, subscribe, and comment below. What would you do if your freezer whispered your darkest secrets? Until next time, don't look inside, and keep your doors locked, especially the cold ones.